Hey, super excited to chat with Jordan from True Classic. We have known each other now for a little over 2 years, I think, right?
Yes,
I think I get like an award for being like one of the longest running partners for you or something or for True Classic.
I'll make you one.
Okay, there you go. Well, so give us a little bit of background on yourself, right? Like I'm obviously super familiar with you and what you do for True Classic, but tell everybody what it is that you do and kind of what your day-to-day looks like.
I'm the Associate Director of Customer Experience at True Classic. And so I oversee all of the day to day operations. So whether it's customers coming into the help desk, customers' ability to find us anywhere on our website, the experience that customers have on our website, anything that customers may touch a customer, I am involved in. And I have been with True Classic for 5 years.
And I think what's super cool about True Classic is you guys have really dived headfirst into AI, right? Like your executive team is all about AI. Like, how much can you guys automate, right? You're a small but mighty team, which I think surprises a lot of people.
Yes, we range from like 14 to 18 agents depending on the time of year, but we have pretty consistent volume. And so, what can we automate? How can we make our customers' lives easier and our agents' lives easier through AI is important.
So, given like that AI is super big for you guys, like what is an area in your customer experience journey that you think AI has helped impact the most?
Yes, I would say our WISMO type tickets. So customers coming in asking where their orders are, have their orders shipped, or even on the flip side saying like my order's been returned to sender or anything like that. I think AI has been really beneficial in helping to support those customers. It allows us to free up agents to work on more complex tickets.
So, are people reaching out to you guys like via email or phone or chatbot, or where is this like WISMO deflection happening with AI?
Yes, we actually have WISMO deflection across all three. So for phones, we are using Flip, who helps us automate our WISMO tickets. And then in our chat and email, we are utilizing Parcel Lab to deflect those tickets using their AI agents.
And I think people might be surprised because, like, obviously we work together. I work at Parcel Lab, and I'm familiar with Flip. But like, you're typically when you think about post purchase, you're giving customers already like a hey, your order is shipped, your order's out for delivery. They're already getting that, but you're finding that still people are reaching out to customer service. Do you think it's the demographic for True Classic, or what do you think is the reason that that's kind of happening more?
I actually think it's just the way that we now look at package shipping, not just at True Classic, but people can order on Amazon and it shows up at your door the next day or in the next 2 to 3 days. And unfortunately, that's not how it happens for everybody. So when a package doesn't arrive in 4 to 5 days, customers are immediately reaching out to customer service to try to figure out like where that is. Yes, you could click on your tracking link, but not everybody likes to do that. Sometimes people want more in-depth information than they think they can get from the tracking. So it's not that it's not on its way. It's just that we have kind of built up this expectation in society. And so with WISMO and automation behind WISMO, we're able to read the tracking, share the exact location of the package, let a customer know if there's an estimated delivery date, and just make sure that they have all of that information at the tap of their fingers versus having to go search for it themselves.
And I think people are always surprised. Like we talked about this when you were on my CX Mixer podcast, but like how important phone is. It's such a hot topic and that people actually call in to say, where's my order? I mean, so you guys are leveraging Flip. When that comes to AI, are you finding that's like taking a lot of time off your agents or how is AI working with phone?
Yes, I think that it is taking a lot of time off of our agents. We've been able to cut back from having 3 to 4 agents on phones for 8 hours a day to having 1 to 2 agents on phones, depending on just the seasonal time. And it allows people to still feel like they're being heard through that vocal channel while not necessarily taking like an agent's time, especially because we know phone tends to be the longest ticket type. So when you get somebody on the phone, it's not like a hi bye like an email or chat. It is oftentimes a drawn out conversation. So by having Flip take the WISMO tickets first and really dig into those, provide all of those updates for a customer, minimizes like that back and forth talking time that oftentimes happens on the phone.
Then you guys just launched kids clothing and women's clothing.
Correct.
Are you finding that like more people are reaching out or concerned, like, because obviously we talked about this a little bit too on CX, like, right, male consumers or male shoppers don't reach out as much. Are you thinking that like your people wondering where the orders gonna be increased now that you're selling to women, or is that something you guys are anticipating?
I do not actually anticipate that, and maybe it's just the way that I have natively shopped. Like, I feel like I'm more patient than my husband. That could just be like us, but I feel like my husband's like constantly following up on
Okay.
tracking. I feel like I'm not following up until I am like, oh, where did that package go? Of course, we're going to plan for it though, as if it's going to happen and be prepared for that. And what we've been doing is actually training our AI to be able to look at the products that a customer purchased and potentially change the tone of voice, because men and women inherently are different and they shop different and the behaviors are different. And we want to make sure that AI is still attempting to treat each customer like the individual that they are, adding a little bit of different tonality, picking up on those products when they're talking about those WISMO orders.
Now, I'll throw a little bit of a curveball here for you. I know you don't like to wing it, but I was just thinking while we were talking, where's my order is important, but what about like where's my refund? Are you guys automating any of that with AI?
Yes. So I think that there's a time and a place for it. What we have found is that AI oftentimes wants to say it can take 3 to 5 business days for your refund to process back, because that's what it can pick up from the FAQs. I am working on building out the ability for AI to read Shopify tags, because that's how we utilize our refunds. So if it says return closed and they have not been refunded, then there's an issue there. There was a disconnect and we need to get a human involved, because somebody needs to manually issue that refund and find out why it didn't fire. Now, if the return hasn't been received and it's still open, then we can utilize that. It takes 3 to 5 business days once your order's been scanned for the return to get closed out. So I think that there's a time and a place, but it is definitely a little bit more of a challenging one, because it oftentimes requires a more in-depth look. And so you have to train on those tags and utilization.
I think that kind of leads into what I was going to ask you is like, where do you think this AI should go? Like this, where's my order type situation, like should go, or what's missing? And it sounds like maybe that's sort of a gap where if the data that you're giving the agent is too vague, it's not pulling in enough stuff like a human who can cross-reference a bunch of different areas to be like, okay, I know that this means this, and they're just saying like, I guess what I was thinking is like a lot of brands are now moving to refund on inspection, or like once it gets back to the warehouse, to minimize fraud. So I can see more people calling in, especially around the holidays when they need their money, being like, hey, where's my refund? Did you get my order back? And I could see that throwing people off. Like, you should get it in three to
Yeah,
five days.
I think that it can work. I just think you have to have a very clear tagging structure, and that tagging structure cannot change. So like somebody can't come in and be like, "Oh, I don't like the way that this tagging structure pulls for my back end reporting. So I'm going to change it so it makes more sense in reporting," because it could very well be feeding the information to the AI. So I think it's possible. I think it requires upkeep and training, but I can see more and more AI companies leaning into that type of structure going forward.
Yeah. And when like a brand like True Classic is looking at AI partners, and I know you and I talk a lot about AI partners that you're looking at, what are things that you think a brand should be thinking about when it comes to bringing on AI? I know we talked a lot about how you push really hard on your AI partners to automate a lot, where most people might be okay with 30%, you guys want 70%. I think you had told me that when we were chatting last time. Like, so maybe tell me a little bit about like when you're vetting out this AI technology to bring into the customer experience team, like what are you looking for?
Yes. So I think that while we want to automate a lot and 70% is always that kind of goal, it's looking at the actual quality of the AI as well. Because if the quality is negative, it's ultimately going to potentially lead to that customer starting a second or a third ticket to try to get away from the AI, creating additional work. So I think it's important to not only look at like how much is being automated, but what is the quality of that automation, and from there deciding like what's the trade-off. We have tickets that we absolutely do not want AI touching, and we utilize those keywords to kind of make a bypass ruling so that you can automatically get to an agent. So I think it's really important to just look at what is your brand, what is your brand tone, what is your brand voice, and what are you comfortable with AI touching. Now, I do think that with that, you can automate a lot, but there's also room for AI to help your agents and support your agents. So some AIs will write drafts so that your agent can kind of review it, but all of the information's there and the agent just has to fix and kind of send. So it's a partnership. AI doesn't necessarily have to take over, but there are multiple ways you can utilize AI to become more efficient.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm learning as I talk to more brands around how they're successfully leveraging AI. It's not to overtake the entire process, but as much as they can, and then hand it off so it's like a warm handover to an agent. So that way, like maybe it's like a hey, where's my order? Where's this order type of a situation. And then when it sees that it's troubled, it's like, let's pass this off to somebody else to like really tell them what's going on with their order, right?
Yeah, and that handoff needs to be seamless because it adds to frustration when it's not. When it's like an abrupt handoff or the customer has to continually ask to speak to a human or the AI asks too many questions to even get that handover, that's when somebody just closes out and decides to start over again. And then they're unfortunately sometimes thrown back to the beginning versus still getting to a human agent. So I think it's really important that you have the rulings and the sets to make sure that your agent to human and your human to AI agent is seamless.
You talked a little bit about how like you had 3 people that were answering phones full time, 8 hours a day, right? And then now you've added in some AI agents with Parcel Lab, with Flip. So over the 5 years that you've been there, have you seen like AI coming in and really helping to actually let you guys do more with less people? Or do you find that you're still kind of like it's just enhancing? I guess I'm just curious because you run with such a lean team compared to other brands that I talk. Have you always had this lean team?
We have been able to get more lean over, I would say, the last about 18 months utilizing AI. So the last 2 quarter 4s, we have had minimal ramp up when it comes to hiring additional agents. We are really leaning into AI. And when AI is taking over your WISMO, we know that during Q4, the top asked question is where's my order because everybody's
Yeah.
anticipating getting stuff for the holidays. And so knowing that our WISMO is as strong as it is, we don't have to staff up for that necessarily. We just have to make sure we're maintaining and training AI to be able to continue handling those during Q4.
Yeah, I love that. And so, Jordan, I appreciate you sharing all this information. I think super important. I know if any people, AI vendors are reaching out to you, you're going to put them through the ringer. So, just a fair warning to anybody watching this. But if anybody wants to connect with you, they can connect with you on LinkedIn. And appreciate you sharing some information today.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Larry.